Did you say governments?
Governments, yeah.
Cool. Does that inhibit who?
Getting money out of them.
Well, I'll give you an example. The federal government bidding process happens twice a year, October and April. It's already too late for April bidding, but October it's not, okay? So, and they put this stuff out to bid, out to contract. All the other countries have different times, but normally governments put stuff out to bid twice a year, normally. And it's all on the internet now. And back in the day when I was young, it wasn't on the internet, and you had to go these places. But that's the famous contract I got, and I did $50,500,000 in business in my first year in business with 3 contracts, 20, 20, and 10 million from the federal government. Okay, it's history. I mean, and those. But now they also the government. They make fun of in the space shuttle $600 toilets, $300 ashtrays, because the bidding is all fucked up. And it's heavily swayed by lobbyists. I never used lobbyists myself, but now they're swayed by lobbyists. And I'm not talking about the corrupt governments. I'm just talking about the legit ones. There's a whole other ball game for the corrupt governments, where the bidding process is, shall we say, sloppy at best. But these governments are like, for California, they're city, county, municipal, and state. Plus then there's federal. And then in the other countries, Germany, etc., there's the way they break down. In Australia, they have a breakdown as well. And the thing about government contracts, and I'm not suggesting you all go out and do government contracts, but the thing about government contracts, if you don't spend the money, you lose it. So if you don't spend this year's $1 billion budget, next year you're not going to get $1 billion. So they have, as my old CEO of my coal company used to say, they have extra incentive to spend the goddamn money. They got a little extra. God love him, Clyde. I hope you're watching. I hope you're still alive, Clyde. They got extra incentive to spend the money. And then, I mean, countries like the work we talked about earlier, they got a different kind of incentive to spend the money. But it does take. But the beauty about the government contracts is they can finance them 100%, and they virtually, unless they go bankrupt the country or they always pay. They don't always pay you when you want, but they pay. And I mean, it's a thing that got me started. I mean, it's I don't know if it's legendary, but the way people talk about it, it's fucking legendary. To do $50 million in revenue your first year in business with no employees. It sounds even now it sounds pretty good to me, but I haven't seen anybody else do something like that. But things like that are possible. I'm going to tell you about 2 of my mentees up on that wall. He sat here, and I told him about government contracts, yada, yada. And I don't know if he took a plane directly from here, but legend has it now. He went directly to Edinburgh, as he used to call it, to Heathrow to Silicon Valley. It's not that quite simple. And he pulled out contractually, I don't know, 200-300. Now it's up to shit. I used to think it was 250, 300 million, but now the numbers, I mean, the stories are fucking 500 million, 800. I know he put out 200-300 million. I know that. I don't know about the other big numbers, because now as things go by, I mean, fuck, it's bigger than life. But he went there, and this was at the peak of Silicon Valley, with ideas, and then I had another kid who did the same thing, and he did not only Silicon Valley deals, he did government contracts, and made a lot of money. And he did. If my memory serves me correctly, he had all the security for the first Gulf War, and he'd never been in the security business. Didn't have any employees. He hired him when he won the contract. And as far as I know, he did a good job. Or the guys he hired did a good job, and he hired some top-notch guys. I don't know if he hired G4 or whoever the fuck he hired, but he hired some top-notch guys. So he was smart enough to do that. And then when he was asked, well, who taught you how to get money from the government? Oh, Dan Peña taught me at Guthrie Castle. He taught me how the stupidest people on the fucking planet are governments. Mm-hmm. But he's not the only one. I mean, a number of guys have told people that. A number of them. It's true. I don't need everybody running around telling people. But and it's not that they're stupid. It's because they have to get the money out. And if you go through the processes legally, and you get good legal representation, and you get people to fulfill the fucking contract, there's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely 100% kosher. But, I mean, dealing with the government, it's a lot of a hassle. It's a fucking pain in the ass. That's the truth. But now it's all on the internet. So for internet scum, ostensibly, theoretically, it should be easier. When I did it, I wasn't on the internet. I did it shoe leather and did it the hard way, the old-fashioned way. But kids now and companies now, their whole life existence is government contracts. And there's government contracts for vets. There's government contracts for one-eyed, one-titted, one-legged fucking American Indian, Eskimo, you name it. And they got them. And some of you in this room would qualify. And then you go marry a sister, and you do this, and you get a Vietnamese in the deal, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but it does exist. I'm a minority myself. What are you laughing about? Did I answer your question? Was there a question? I got off on a fucking tangent. I don't know. Huh?
We thought you were telling a story.
Yeah. But the government contract, and they're easily financeable because you're given the benefit of the doubt that the government's always going to pay. And normally you can finance a government contract 100%, if not more. I don't mean in an illegal way at all, but they'll normally give you money for working capital and all this other stuff. And that's great. That's great. You got to find a market, find a niche, and which is under developed and somehow, and then fill it. Find a need, and then fill it. And but governments are aerospace subcontracting. Contracting used to be. I mean, it was crazy. And when the buildup of the various wars that America's been in, I mean, the government contracts, arms and guys like that are making fortunes of money. And for the most part, the people that supply the contracts are pretty good, but not all of them. And you just saw in Southern California about 3 or 4 years ago that a little municipality, I forget the one, it's near Costa Mesa, where all the Hispanics who went to jail for paying each other $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It was actually, I think it was like 3 Hispanics and 2 whites that were on that board.
No brothers?
No.
You missed that one. Yeah, but I remember, and then there was people carrying posters for the Hispanics. They were being discriminated against because they were going to go to jail. Of course, they stole money, but I mean, you play the race card. If you're in trouble, play the race card and see if it works, even if you're guilty. So That was good. That was Bell Gardens. Bell Gardens. Any of your relatives in that deal? Okay. 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 Tonight we have dinner here. I told you it's an experiment, a new deal. We're going to do some more role playing. We're gonna we don't talk about how to get the fucking money till tomorrow after lunch. How we're going to do some role playing about interviewing accountants and lawyers, you're talking at 2. And again, my recommendation is you don't try to do 4 or 5 deals like he's doing, not because he's not doing them right, but because it's more difficult than he's going to make it sound. And in his particular case, again, he is an integral part of the industry. He understands the industry, the fabric of the industry, et cetera, et cetera. And most of you kids won't be in that place because you're looking at something else. But he's had, and one of the things that will become obvious is a deal that you thought was dead comes alive, and a deal that's alive then goes dead. And that's why you have to always continue to talk to him. Don't get your little feelings hurt just because something seems to die, and then you resurrect it. As long as rigor mortis hasn't set in, and I mean it's not been put in the grave or cremated, it's alive. Because at the end of the day, these sellers are motivated. They want to sell. They went out. And he's got a number of them, some of which have government contracts, right? Big governments. Country.
It's a very stable government.
Yeah. We don't want to put it on YouTube, have everybody there. But YouTube, thank you. Good night. See you in the morning.